So the other day we had a bombshell report that Call of Duty 2023, reportedly being introduced to the franchise by Treyarch, was going to be doing something that no other Call of Duty has done in nearly 20 years. Take a year off, thus shifting the window of mainline releases from a game in 2023 to 2024, following what is all but confirmed to be Modern Warfare 2 this year. Now this naturally shocked a lot of people, I think mostly for the better since we all want the best product as possible, and the fatigue of seeing games pushed out that didn't quite have the proper time to bake has probably gotten to all of us, but this also opened up so many questions with further reporting presenting twists that are still hard to gauge what to make of them. Perhaps the biggest one though is the inclusion and reporting of an additional new free-to-play game coming at some point during 2023. Today we're breaking down the likely candidates as to what you may be able to expect here when it comes to next year and the year following on the horizon. But as we go along, let me know your thoughts down below. Is there anything in particular you'd like to see here coming in that gap period? What do you think it will be? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts down below. But if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, drop a like on it. And if you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button to stay updated with all things Vanguard, Warzone, anything COD related, especially as we gear up for the next year or maybe two here of what may be a very interesting time. If you'd like to stay updated with all of that, I'd love to have you in the community. And finally, if you're ever interested in supporting the channel a little further, you can do so in the in-game shop for Warzone, Vanguard, Cold War, or Modern Warfare with the support a creator function. Using code Espresso is an entirely optional way to do so, so don't ever feel pressured to, but if you ever do, tweet me a picture. I'd love to shout out some of your generous support. But anyways, let's jump into it. So let's set the stage here for a second. I'm sure that you guys saw it. We talked about it on the channel here a couple of days ago as well, but a few days ago, Jason Schreier broke a story with Bloomberg stating, for the first time in 2 decades, Call of Duty will skip a year. Activision has delayed 2023's game made by Treyarch to 2024, sources tell Bloomberg. It's a shocking move that will have a massive impact on the franchise and the industry. Now that article was an incredibly revealing piece and we learned a lot from what to expect perhaps, but we already covered most of that in depth. The curious part though is what comes after, where Jason immediately follows up the article in question being tweeted out saying a new premium Call of Duty has come out every year since 2005. Next year's offering will include a new free-to-play game as well as content for Warzone 2 and 2022's Modern Warfare. Now 2 of those 3 things we already heard about, Warzone 2 and Modern Warfare 2 in 2022, but hold the phone on a new free-to-play game? I mean, independent of your thoughts on the power of free-to-play, personally why I think Warzone blew up outside of the timing, that's a massive thing to consider because that's essentially confirming that while we may not be getting a mainline title or game, we may have something else that may be more than just a few maps, modes, and such for Modern Warfare 2 every month or 2 going into year 1 and 2 of support, and also past anything for Warzone 2. Now, for those that either enjoy or don't enjoy Modern Warfare and Infinity Ward's pacing and design, it's quite a bit of time to wait for something new by comparison to what we're used to in terms of delaying an entire mainline title. A free-to-play title, though, absolutely could help fill that out. So the question comes down to the obvious. What in the world could that be? We already have so many things in the Call of Duty space that what could fill the gap further and in a meaningful way? Between Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, COD Mobile, things will all be seemingly spread pretty thin in 2022, right? To me, there's probably 4 possibilities that we could see as likely outcomes for this free-to-play game being released at some point next year. The first thing that initially came to my mind was Warzone Mobile. That was the immediate first thought that I had here at this. Warzone was free-to-play, but also wasn't something that would really take away from or discount any of the main projects. So to see that replicated with a Warzone Mobile would make sense. Plus, Warzone Mobile would be in its entirely own market alongside COD Mobile, maybe not even being a separate release, but instead being tied with the Battle Royale of COD Mobile existing right now. But regardless, for likely a large portion of us here, in terms of a release for mobile, even if it is a free-to-play introduction, it'd probably be inconsequential. But insiders, also from Charlie Intel, seem to believe that that's not the case, that this is separate and independent of anything Warzone Mobile, which we do know is coming at some point. We just don't know when. But there's been plenty of since-removed job listings and hints towards this that's just like Modern Warfare 2, all but confirms this is a reality, but likely not the match that we're looking for when we take a look at what we'll be releasing as a free-to-play entry next year. Another guess that I had immediately was Warzone 2. That's going to be a free-to-play offering, and maybe it's just something that is a little bit of a legal jargon cop-out. Oh, a free-to-play offering next year, but early on with March and April, and then nothing later in the year towards September, October, November. Technically, it would then fill that free-to-play offering in 2023 and would likely be considered quite a cop-out, but even this one, Jason Schreier, who broke the original story, seems to indicate this won't be the case via his wording. Next year's offerings will include a new free-to-play game as well as content for Warzone 2 and 2022's Modern Warfare. As well as. So in addition to, which is definitely nice. Warzone 2 for sure has some major implications and has the potential to recreate some of that fire that the initial launch of Warzone had, but at the same time, it will still feel familiar and won't be necessarily new entirely. It might not create the same spark that it did with the original. But anyways, next up, the third option I think could be DMZ, which could be an additional free-to-play offering. Right now, or as of a couple of weeks ago, it was reported that this wasn't going to be something that was going to be free-to-play, that instead it was going to act as Spec Ops as that third mode for Modern Warfare 2 here upcoming. But there is that potential that things could change. Maybe it goes free-to-play at some time during 2023. Perhaps around that time of when a traditional launch would be for Call of Duty. So just like the PlayStation exclusivity deals, there's a year of exclusivity on DMZ for those that buy Modern Warfare 2 and have access to that third mode. But DMZ, an Escape from Tarkov style, has so much potential for continued support and a huge player base if released standalone. I mean, Tarkov's endgame, if you look at that, can take weeks to months of non-stop grinding before any resets occur, and those are what the literal best at the game are doing. So there is no shortage of how much time you can plummet into Tarkov, and thus maybe even as DMZ once it is introduced here to Modern Warfare 2, or maybe as a standalone for Call of Duty. If you want to engage players, you want to report a huge amount of playtime and keep players on your game, Tarkov's model is such an insanely proven method for that. But probably what may be the most likely here, and maybe something that comes out of left field, is something that's been rumored for quite some time: a Zombies standalone game. There are insiders currently reporting that there's a separate Call of Duty Zombies project in early development, not currently connected to any title. The only time that we've ever seen anything zombies related was as a third mode for any of the number of Call of Duty games in the past that there was a zombies mode in. So this is something that, if it happens, tides over that zombies community so that they don't have to wait what will be 4 years for a new zombies experience in a game that initially was supposed to have the zombies. I mean, we do have Vanguard zombies, but that was something that Treyarch came in last second almost, it seemed like, to create something that is kind of a hollow shell of what zombies was. But from Black Ops Cold War to then Call of Duty 2024 would be quite a long time. And also, when you consider what was reported with this Bloomberg article, it does say that Treyarch, the Activision-owned studio working on the now-delayed game, will also help with the free-to-play title, people close to the projects have said. Now, listen, I know that Treyarch's kind of been spread thin here, but this just only adds to that possibility of this actually happening. So, just humoring ourselves here, what would the direction of this even be? Traditional zombies? Outbreak? Both? I mean, there is tons of source material we can work with here, whether it be the original storyline, whether it be the Dark Ether storyline, in which that could then pick up from Cold War, since chronologically, that will be the end point here of what we know so far. Zombies Chronicles 2 could easily be a thing crafted for next generation by this point, and with so many maps on offer, maybe it kind of blows Zombies Chronicles 1 out of the water here. Maybe it is something that includes even more maps. Maybe it includes all those Zombies Chronicles maps, plus all the others that we wanted remastered, other fan favorites. But another counterpoint is that you could have Outbreak. That could easily be an entirely open world concept, larger than what we got with Cold War. I mean, the plans for the world of Outbreak were huge, something that we may actually discuss sometime soon here on the channel, but there is no shortage of what could happen. And I mean, hell, maybe even as a free-to-play experience, get both of those, a standalone game that has the option to load into the open world nature of Outbreak, or the classic experience by revisiting fan favorite maps in just survival-based gameplay. Now, that's something that is incredibly interesting to consider. Any of these four options, I think, sounds pretty promising, but it's also important to note that Activision are doing the Activision thing here. Non-answers that drum up more curiosity, deflecting, or just not really acknowledging, while acknowledging that this is something that's been rumored. So we'll have to wait and see how all of this shapes up, but there may be more content than we may actually anticipate here coming for 2023, even if a mainline title isn't actually coming. I'm kind of starting to see this kind of become the sort of 2016 Call of Duty, but without Infinite Warfare in the fold, where you have Zombies Chronicles that releases, you have continued support for games multiplayer. The only difference here is that we don't have a remastered game coming. That remastered multiplayer of Modern Warfare 2 is likely being folded into Modern Warfare 2022 here, in which we get more DLC, including weapons and maps from the scrapped Modern Warfare 2 remastered multiplayer included in the seasonal offerings. But anyways, right now, that is where we're at here at this. A free-to-play game of some nature is coming on top of Warzone 2 and on top of this year's Modern Warfare 2, likely coming this fall. So Let me know your thoughts down below. What do you guys think of this here? Is there anything in particular you think that it will be? Do you think it's the zombie standalone? Do you think it'll be DMZ going free to play? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts below. But if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, drop a like on the video. And if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing running all things Call of Duty. We got a lot of stuff here coming very, very soon. And also in the near future, there seems to be quite a bit up on deck too. So make sure you stay here on the channel if you're at all interested. But thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.